Hello, it's me and
Noah.
Another late night boxing as we approach your bedtime. And mine too, actually. Only 8:50. Right. All right. So, the only thing I like better than solving puzzles and collecting puzzles is unboxing puzzles. So that's what we're going for right now. Now this, I think I can say, is probably the most unique part of the collection. You reach a point in collecting where you're not sure where you're going to go with it. You're not sure how much more you want to do. There's always something more you can get. There's always something new. Then you start to ask yourself, how much more do I need? Well, every so often you see a puzzle that really, really catches your eye. Because there's something very unique about it. When it comes to unique things, this one comes from England. Right, Noah?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
This is my England accent.
It's sounds more like a Boston accent.
Who live in England.
It's a 9x6x6. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Put this over here now. What do you think this is? What do you think this is? I will tell you that this is probably among the more unique puzzles that I have from jolly old England. Yes, it's a box. It's what's in the box. Anything else in here? Every so often. No, okay, just things that we can pop later. Okay, you ready for this?
Yep.
Packaged really nicely. Now it's a 5x5x5. So this comes from Tony Fisher, who is responsible for much of the modifications that we take for so much for granted these days. Looking at it, you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So perhaps it's a cuboid, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the real fascinating thing about this puzzle is not that it's a cuboid. It's something else completely. Now I'm going to very carefully take this apart and very carefully put this together. Okay. Now, yes. Okay. So I'm going to hold this up here and see if I can make the illusion happen. What this is called Cubillusion. And what we see is, there's Tony Fisher's name over here. And if you look at it long enough, go ahead and, actually go ahead and turn those lights on over there, Noah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And this is what fascinated me about this. I don't know how much you're picking this up over here. But if you look at it close enough, the question is the cube here or is the cube here? And if you stare at it enough, you'll find that sometimes this jumps out at you, even on the picture. So it's hard for me to see when holding it up. But anyway, so it moves like a cube, and you have this illusionary portion over here. So this turns quite well over here. And now let's see what else can turn. You see these arches are over here, and I want to turn it very carefully. Now, this moves excellent. This moves fantastic. It won't move all the way over here. But look how smooth that is. So I really have no idea in terms of what this is going to look like when it's scrambled. But I see that there appears to be something of an arch here. And maybe something of an arch over here. I'm going to move it very carefully because I don't know the limits of what it can or can't do. So far I see this moving over here, and this can scramble over here.
Oh wow, that looks really hard.
Yeah, well, it's just different. And when it's different, I don't know the exact strategy to use. And that's going to be the fun of it over here.
To see the illusion. It's
Right, right. So here's the illusion, and if you look at it just right, it looks like this will pop out at you. Incredibly creative idea by Tony Fisher. And, yeah, and then this can all move over here too. I fear that if I scramble it, I may never be able to get it back, because this is not the kind of puzzle that you can do anything other than solve. I don't think you can take this apart. Anyway, very unique puzzle. I don't know how many of these exist, but I am very honored to have one of them. Anyway, I'll do more of a scramble later and possibly a solve demonstration with this. Here's a little bit more turning. So yeah, things can get pretty mixed up. Anyway, there you have it. Good job, Tony Fisher. As always, thanks for watching. So this is the Cubillusion by Tony Fisher that I just did an unboxing for, and I'm just gonna kind of show it over here. It's pretty fascinating because it's an illusion in more ways than one. First off, it's a nice little optical illusion where you've got your little 3x3 area over here, but then you've got these here that if you look at it the right way, it seems to come out at you. So it has this interesting look to it. You probably see it better than I do right now because in 2 dimensions, it can probably bring out the illusion more. But the illusion is beyond that, because although it looks like it's a 3x3, it actually isn't that. The illusion is even deeper in that it's a different kind of a puzzle. So in looking at this, before scrambling it, I was trying to decide what would be the best approach to take with this puzzle. You can see that there's some pieces that are kind of glued on here, bandaged in some ways. I can't go this way, but I can go this way, and I can't bring it into over here. So at first, it bears a superficial, although incomplete resemblance to maybe the pocket cube. Here is another puzzle where you have one type of a cube, a 2x2, within a larger 2x2, but this is really of highly bandaged, critically bandaged 3x3. So too, this looks like a 3x3 hidden within some sort of a shell, but it's actually nothing like this puzzle at all. What I started to realize is that the way that this moves, 1, 2, and this actually moves over here, 3, and 4. It's kind of hard to see here, but this is the 4th layer over here. We've got over here 1, 2, 3, 4. It actually moves like a 4x4, and you realize that it is much like Tony Fisher's other puzzle that I have, which is a Siamese 4x4. And the way that this seems to move is that this move in here is like, let's see if I can turn it here. I'll try this. Is like this moving over here. This is like this. And this, if done right, well, this is like this moving over here, but I actually have a little less bandaging here because I can move this, but I can't move that over there. So it's likened onto that. I can turn it in this direction. And so too, this doesn't move, just like this doesn't move, and this doesn't move. Over here, you can see that there's very similar homologies to the movement. So I figured, well, why don't I solve it just like a Siamese 4x4? Turn, 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 and there that is over there. So, Tony Fisher, as the king of the East Sheen mods, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scramble this puzzle, show that, and then do a solve with this. And there's another aspect to this puzzle that I find fascinating. It's actually among the most brilliant puzzles that I've ever owned. So looking at the scramble, you know, scrambles pretty well over here. It's pretty standard on this layer. Here the layers scramble like this. Now I can't move it the other way, but I can move it this way. Then I can start moving it across the layers here. So move this down over here, move that like so. I'm going to see if I can't separate these out a little better there. And then I can start to move this inner layer here. And I can't move it across this over here. So the bandaging is beyond just these arches that are put in. It actually has to do with some of them only go one way versus another. Move this here. Well, let's do it like this. Here, and we'll separate this out like that. What I'm trying to do is take away the structure as much as possible. Now here, this is where it gets a little more difficult in that it gets a little sticky. I did a little bit of loosening to make it work a little bit better. But you have to move these areas out together and then you can separate them out like so. So after working with it a little bit, I'm able to, once I move it over here, you can see that the movement is quite good. Anything within this, which is by this arch, has a little bit of a sticky point, but like I say, I've been playing around with it. I actually have not lubricated the puzzle. Just by working with it and playing with it, I'm able to bring it out like that. So you can see more complications in the structure of the scramble here. And over here, this doesn't move over here because it's got a one-way ticket. Turn like so. And I'm just going to keep moving it around. So I'm going to keep going along with the scramble. So you can see that this is really now taking its native shape. You've got this arch here. Now what's interesting to me is that this is connected, and I'm wondering why it's like that. So this move here and this move here doesn't is blocked because of the fact that this arch is glued. The green arch is not, and I'm wondering why that was kept like that as opposed to just cutting this down and keeping it going. Don't get me wrong, I kind of like that because it does increase the challenge a little bit, so I've got no problem with that whatsoever. I'm just wondering why that was done like that. Because it does add a nice challenge, which I always look forward to when I solve this puzzle. So as I'm scrambling this, and as I'm putting it into its more native form, let's just move this down here. Despite the stickiness, it's actually a very stable puzzle. Let's move it this way, actually. Splat, clink, clunk. Okay, so this is a pretty good scrambled form of this, and you can see that the native shape really takes form at this point, and you can see what kind of a puzzle this is. It's very obviously a 4x4. It looks like it's a 4x4 with just little pieces glued onto it. You've got this arch that's over here that bandages these moves together. Everything else just almost looks haphazardly glued to it. What's fascinating about this puzzle, and this is the other part of the illusion to this, is the fact that although it looks like a 4x4 with pieces glued onto it, when you solve it as a 4x4, or in this case as a Siamese 4x4, you end up with a structure that's completely different regarding what you end up with. What you end up with is a completely different kind of a structure with the solve where it doesn't bear even any resemblance to a 4x4. And I'm going to get back to that aspect of it later, and that's the brilliant part of this puzzle. And what I'm looking for is other types of puzzles like that where you take a 4x4 that just looks like pieces haphazardly glued together, but when you solve it, you end up with this other complicated structure that you never would have predicted. So now what we can do is go through the process of solving this and turn this haphazard looking 4x4 East Sheen puzzle into this incredible illusion puzzle that was brilliantly designed by Tony Fisher. So the first step is getting our centers and do center reduction. Center reduction is going to have a little bit more of a challenge because of the bandaging over here. So the fun thing about this is, you can do so many 4x4 puzzles and do so many reductive techniques, but at least this lends it a little bit more of a challenge. So actually the first thing I'm going to do is create the structure of this arch. So I'm going to put the structures together here. I try to do as much of a scramble as possible. This comes into here. So in many ways it's like an edge reduction. Put this over to here and move this in here, and we'll see if we can move this guy into here. So because this is a arch type structure, I can move this like so. Okay, so this is in. Now I just got to move it to here. So move it here, and is this the correct way that it moves in? I might be putting it in opposite. So turn, and yeah. Sometimes when I try to put it in, it clunks into it, so I have to turn it the other way. So I've got this in, so we're done. We're good with that. What I'm going to do now is a Siamese 4x4 solve, but with a little bit less restriction. It's actually less restrictive than that. So I'm going to start putting in my centers. The first center is to put this one in, and that's the orange center. So I'm just going to coordinate it as best I can. Turn it over here and splat, then bring the other two over here. I've got this here, and I'm just going to find ways of coordinating. Move this here. I'm putting them in the sides that I can make 90-degree turns. Move this in, move this in. All right, so far simple stuff. This is in over here. Quite obviously the next one that belongs is going to be green. So the green side is going to be here because you can see the green over here. This is already in. So let's see how we're going to coordinate this center. I'd like to be able to move the next one into here, but how am I going to get this down to here? Well, this thing can be like a swing vote. I can swing this around and then make the turns that I want. So what I'm going to do is line this up here, move this out of the way. So now I can coordinate this down over here. Turn this out of the way, turn this back, bring it up. All right, now that I've got this here, turn it, and then there was green. Whoop. Got to coordinate that better with this. Okay, so reach this out, double turn, and reach this in. I don't really want to finger trick this because I don't want to do anything that might cause disruption with the structure. So green is over here, so what's supposed to come on top? Well, I don't like to memorize things beforehand because it takes away from the fun. So if this is orange and this is green, yellow's on the bottom over here, which means white must be over here. So I don't have a specific technique to do this. I kind of like to redefine it each time, but it has to do with swinging this out of the way in order to bring things up. So I want to bring this up to here, swing it out of the way even more, so that way I can go like, well, can't do it like that. So what I can do is even swing it further over here or down here. That'll work, because I'm not going to touch these centers. This represents more like a, I don't know, an alternative center turn. So turn this here, turn, bring it back. I'm going to keep swinging this around while I'm putting the other weights in. I've got this over here. So what I will do is turn this like so. And I'd like to line it up with this guy over here. That's lined up over there. Turn this like so over here. Okay. Turn this here, here, and down. Now turn, double turn, and up. And now just to make sure I haven't committed any atrocious mistakes. Oh. Now if I find myself into this situation, I simply move this all the way around until it can move in. Pow. That's probably got to move out eventually. But anyway, this is in, and this is in. I don't think I like this here quite yet, because I think it's going to start bandaging me in ways that I don't want. Okay, so now that I have that, what I'm going to do is I guess I'll put, well, it doesn't matter which one is best. I mean, this one has a highest degree of variability, and so does this. So it might be best to put this guy in over here. Opposite this is blue. I already have these two blues in. So let's take this, move this out of the way here, bring this blue in like so, turn, and move this down. Okay, now I'm just going to move it into here, turn it down, double turn, and bring it up. All right, just to get my bearings. Good, 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 good. And this happens to come together quite easily. So that's going to be yellow. Bat this out of the way. So really, there isn't too many more complicated positions that can happen with this. But I'll move, let's see, I got to move this out of the way over here. Okay, it's just a matter of finding the right place. All right, so turn, double turn, bring it back, and oh, so exciting, I finally got this in place. Okay, so all of my centers are in. So the next step is edge reduction. Edge reduction with a little bit of a twist. Because now is where we're going to start finding ourselves getting more and more bandaged a little bit. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to do edge reduction the same way that I do edge reduction in any 4x4. So I'm going to find, say, the white and red, find the white and red, the other white and red, which, well, it's over here. So this can move down to here just like all the other 4x4s, but I got to get this out of the way so that I can do the proper turning. So I'm going to take this and just move it out of the way over here. Keep it up top. Then take this, make sure that these aren't in, move it down, turn, 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 and move it back up. So now I don't really care where this is at this point. I'm just going to keep putting those in. So this is in over here. Green and black. Let's find another green and black. Right over here. And it happens to be just across from it. So I'm going to move this out of the way. This is fine over here. Turn it down to the green and black. Turn, 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 turn. So it's a fun variation. Oh, put that one in too. It's a fun variation on a usual technique. Move this over here so it's out of the way. Can we find a blue and red? It's right over here. I just have to move this to the top. Like so. And I'll turn, 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 and up. So what else? How about something to line with this, blue and white? right over here. So I got to move it away from this or else I can't move this down where it's supposed to be. So turn this out of the way, move it in, turn it back. So it's just opposite here. Bring this up, clocked into that, and curse splat. No problems, no worries. So turn, 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 and up. Didn't bump heads. How about another black and yellow? Now notice there's two black and yellows. There's a black and orange, and another black and yellow. Right here. So don't let this fool you. This arch isn't ready to be fully assembled yet, so this will come down to... Oh, thought it was a black and yellow, but it's a shadow. Okay, this can come over to here. Line it up with something that's not in yet, such as this. Take this out of the way. We go down. Turn, 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 and up. So far, so good. Now that we've defined what the structure of this puzzle looks like, it's kind of exciting to see how it slowly turns into this optical illusion. This will come down to here. Find one here that can be sacrificed. We don't have any, but we do have with this. Bump this out of the way. Bump it back, and move it in. Move this up. Turn to match it up. Turn, turn, turn. And up. Doesn't fit in there, so I take it all the way around the other way. Curse splat. All right, how about another one that's orange and black? There's another orange and black. These are kind of equivalent to each other. Well, not this one anyway. Right over here, here's an orange and black. Now, I think we might be down to the last two centers, to be honest with you, because this orange and black right over here just so happens to be, move this out of the way, just so happens to be by this. This belongs with this, and this belongs with this. So in terms of the arch components, these arch components are edges, and this arch component is a corner, as opposed to a fully glued, bandaged component over here. So we know how to do the last two edges in a non-bandaged puzzle, but it's going to be a little bit difficult with bandaging because you're going to have to make use of almost every kind of movement in every axis, so I can't just move this around. And that's going to be the one where I flip-flop these two. This will come here and this will come here. I'm going to have to do this move so I can bump it out of the way from there, or splat. So I would go over here, then I have to do an R move, but I can't because I'm bandaged over here. So there's nowhere that I can put this, that I can fulfill the entire algorithm, because I'm going to have to do an R, an F, and a U, and this is always going to be in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to do something of a surrogate move. A surrogate move is where you do, instead of an F, you do a move like this and then do an F. Because I can't do an F over here, but I can turn it into an F if I move it up and do a U and then move it back down. That in essence is an F. It's my surrogate F. We introduced that concept when we were doing the Siamese solves. So now is the time to do that. So I'm going to try to do this move substituting all F's for surrogate F's. So I'm going to move this over here and then do R and then surrogate Fi, U, then Ri, surrogate F, and then bring it back. Now this works over here. You can see this blocks it, but only from this angle, so I wheel that sucker around and splat. So you can see this is in and this is in. So all these corners are in over here. Now I've got this semi-arch set up. You can see this arch is set up as well, but I don't know that I'm ready to have that whole structure in. Well, let's see. This is in over here, so you can see the centers aren't lined up. So what I'm going to have to do is I kind of move this up here, but this arch is in the way. To separate that out, I can't move it like this, so I've got to separate it out like this and go all the way around. This will ensure that this is still together and this is still over here, and then move it up like so. Okay, so what I have now is this should be the full setup. Oh, okay, yeah, like this. So this is the full setup with white over here, and all the edges have been reduced. Now that I've done that, I have just to solve it as a Siamese 4x4, and the whole Cubillusion will be completely set. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it like this, because in this perspective, it's going to be solved just like, well, just like this. Where this whole side here represents this side over here, and it gets me access to all of these. Actually, it gets me access to even a little bit more. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take this and bring it over to here. Go like this. Okay. And wrap that around. To do that, let's see how to plan this out. Now, this isn't too different than what I would use with this puzzle over here, but there's a perspective issue. So how am I going to do this? Well, I want to get this over to here. So what I'm going to do is take this center, move it. We'll move this up over here. We'll double turn. I think what I'm going to have to do is turn this upside down. So I'm going to move this like so, move it up like this, substitute it with another edge, and move it down. Okay, so this is now upside down, but I'm free to go like this, turn it in like so, and now move it in and clunk. But that's okay. I can move this part in, whip this part all the way around, and bring it in. So now this arch is in. So I've got this fine over here. I'm now going to turn it this way and place this corner edge, this edge set. So blue and white. Where's blue and white? Right down over here. Wouldn't you know it? So I got to get it out of here. That shouldn't be a problem. Just take this here, turn, take it out. So now to move it into here, I'm going to do a similar type technique. Bring it here, double turn, nope. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to turn this upside down. Now remember, this isn't a tutorial because it's not a mass-produced puzzle. Just an observation of what the heck I'm doing. Okay, so I move this here so that this blue is facing out. Bring it in. Now I've got to move this all the way around. It's part of that confusing bandaging, which lends to a nice challenge. Move this in, and now move it back. So this can move all the way back, and this guy's got to move all the way around. Turn and clunk. Now understand, I didn't do anything different than I would with a Siamese. I just had to kind of move in one direction and then turn around the other direction because it's like a one-way gate, one-way door. So this is in and this is in. So where do we go from here? Well, the next step is I generally like to put these guys in. So it's going to be green and orange. Where are you, green and orange? Oh, it's right over here. So I've got to turn it upside down, move it up, turn, 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 move this down. I've got it here, line this up over here, move it up, kersplat. Uh-oh, I snuck in a finger trick, didn't I? This is good over here. Now blue and orange, right over, well, I don't know if it's blue and orange. This is black over here, and remember, we're assembling what looks like a 3x3. So is this really blue and orange, or is this going to be black? I think it's going to be black and orange. So it's probably this guy over here. Turn this here. I think it's going to be black here, so let's turn this upside down. Now, okay, I thought there's an equivalent piece. Turn it upside down, turn, turn, turn. This is all just positioning. Okay, this belongs down here. So move this up, double turn, orange to orange, and move it down. So this is in now. Now that that's in, the next step, I'm going to put this guy in, orange and red. Oh, you can see I made a little mistake. This isn't supposed to be red. This is supposed to be yellow. Now, how did that happen? I miscalculated. I wonder if you guys saw when I was doing that and yelled, "Stop!" at the screen. So I'm going to want to flip these two. So moving off where we left off, or moving on where we left off, where we were at is we had these in. Now I'm going to put this guy in over here. And now we can do that and pretend like I never did anything. So this is okay over here. Now the next step is I'm doing like a quasi layer by layer. So I'm going to put these corners in over here. So I'm looking for the yellow, orange, and green, which is this. Turn, turn. This is just your typical RID type stuff. So that's okay over here. Now I want to put this one in the right place. And that's going to be this color here. So turn, 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 and down. Okay. The next step is I'm going to put these in. You can see this one is already in. So we got lucky. Now I want to find the blue and yellow. Or actually, better yet, I don't think it's blue. I think it's going to be black. I think this is going to come all the way around here. So black and yellow is here. I actually have two to choose from. This one or this one. I'm going to do this one because I have an easier time with the algorithm to put this in here. So this is that slightly different algorithm of taking one edge and moving it down here. In this case, I'm going to do like, what? I'm going to do a LI to U, L UI, LI to U, L to U, won't move, yes it will, then LI, U, L. Okay, so this is in. So now these two are in. Now I just do the last layer and you can see we're almost there. Okay, so now we've got this layer in, we just have to do this layer. So what I want to do is make sure that everything is rotated the right direction. Or oriented. This is fine, this is fine. What about this? Nope, this is upside down and this is upside down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn these right side up. I have an L formation here, so I'm going to do the equivalent of FRU, RIUI, FI, but I can't do an F, so I've got to do a surrogate F, RU, RIUI, surrogate FI. And that puts these guys up over here, and I just have to flip these guys here, and then we'll be fine. F, R, U, R, I, U, I, F, I. And everything is okay there. So this is all up, and you can see that these are oriented right. But every so often I end up with a situation like this. Okay, can you see what's going on? Right side up, right side up. As you can see, this is over here. This here too is right side up, and this guy over here is upside down. So we have three that are right side up and one that's upside down. So we have a parity. Now how do we get out of a 4-layer parity when we have this situation? Well, we've got to do the Red Bull algorithm. The same strategy as with a floppy parity. Red Bull algorithm to flip this. Well, how do we do a Red Bull algorithm when you need to do an F move and a B move? Well, we do the surrogates. So let's see if I can do a Red Bull algorithm and flip this with doing just surrogate Fs and surrogate Bs. So that's going to be 2R, surrogate 2B, 2U, L. 2 up, RI, 2 up, R, 2 up, surrogate 2F, R, surrogate 2F, and then LI, surrogate 2B, and 2R. And joy of joy, it works. So I can do my surrogate moves to do the same algorithm with no difference. I didn't have to design any new bandaged algorithms. I just had to modify my same algorithms to get this right. So this is in, this is in, this is in, and this is in. Now what about corners? How do we rotate corners up? Well, the way that I do it is this. What needs to be rotated and what doesn't? So let's put these in here. This is rotated fine. This is fine, this is fine, and this is fine. It just so happened to work. But I might not have gotten so lucky. This is a very fortunate solve. What if it was something like this? This is just by way of demonstration. I've got to flip this. this is rotated wrong, this is rotated wrong, this is rotated wrong, and this is rotated wrong. Well, I can't do the usual corner orientation algorithms to flip this correctly, the RIDIRDs. I guess I may be able to do like surrogates, but that would get a little complicated. So I'm going to actually do a known effect that RU, RU, R2U, RI does. That's basically the edge permutation algorithm. And watch what it does with these. It's not going to change the orientation of this, it'll flip them around, but it's actually going to change orientations of these. And I don't have it completely memorized as to what's going to do what, but I know what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is one that's rotated right and the others that are rotated wrong. So I'm just going to randomly do one, RU, RIU, R2U, RI. I'll bring this over here, rotated wrong, rotated wrong, rotated right, and rotated right. So there's two. So I'm just going to do it again. R, U, R, I, U, R, to U, R, I. Bring this in. Wrong, right, wrong, and wrong. That's what I want. When I get one that's rotated correctly, I'm going to move this to the side so that it's at the left. And then I'm going to do the same algorithm. R, U, R, I, U, R, to U, R, I. And one of two things are going to happen. It's all going to be correct, or I'm going to be back to the same configuration where just one is correct. Move it in, and this is rotated right, wrong, wrong, and wrong. So move this to the left once again, and one more should do it. R, U, R, I, U, R, to U, R, I. And sure enough, there it is. That's how I got it back. In, 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 in. This is something that I discovered when attempting to navigate my way around this. Same technique. So now all I've got to do is corner swaps. And that's what I'm going to do. Rather, edge swaps. So these two need to swap. To R, to U, to R, to U, to R, to U. And now I've got to swap these two. To R, U, to R, U, to R, to U, to R, to U, to R, U, to R, UI, to R, in, and done. The first time, I think, that a Cubillusion has been solved on YouTube, which is incredibly fun because you take a 4x4 with what appears to be haphazard pieces glued onto it, and then when you solve the 4x4, you end up with this bizarre 3x3 look and this illusion that you have on top of that. Absolutely brilliant puzzle. In terms of concept and in terms of application, an incredibly fun variation of just what appears to be a little bit more of a challenge to a 4x4 solve. So, as a result of this puzzle and the enjoyment that I've had from this, I'm putting out a call to action, a call to arms. What I'd like to see happen amongst you builders and designers out there, what I'd like to see is take a 4x4 or a 3x3 or a 5x5, preferably something higher than a 4x4, and make it into a situation where you have pieces glued onto it so that when you solve it, you end up with a completely different looking structure. This does not look like a 4x4. It's camouflaged in there. This looks like, well, a unique thing, a Cubillusion. So my challenge is to make more puzzles like that. Take your 4x4, take your 5x5, and make it to where when you solve it, you end up with something completely different like this. If anybody finds a way to do that or has a suggestion for that, let me know, and I'd be happy to sponsor something like that. So let me know what you think. Tony Fisher, excellent job. Keep up the good work. And as always, thanks for watching.